So today's lesson is about Social Security and really the overall funding of it and whether it's going to pay you a check well into the future. It's pretty much common knowledge that people accept as common knowledge that Social Security is going to run out of money. The government's spending our Social Security money on something else, and those are all urban legends. So every April, the Social Security trustees come out with a pretty extensive report that I read every word in it because I really want to check the facts annually to see if there's any truth in these statements. And just like anything, there's some truth, is that if the prediction has been made that Social Security Trust Fund is going to run dry in 2035, and from the report that just came out to the one a year ago to the one the year before that, that's a pretty much a consistent message, and that's in the articles. Now, that will happen counting on really two things. Number one is that Congress doesn't act to shore up the Social Security system between now and 2035. And then the second thing is if Congress doesn't act, it's also the assumption needs to be there that all their assumptions, actually their assumptions need to hold out and hold water, because they've made a bunch of predictions as to how many people are going to work and how long they're going to work and how long people are living, that sort of thing. So I want to get back to the first assumption on that it assumes that Congress isn't going to do anything. And I think that they are. And even if they don't, there's $3 trillion in the Social Security Trust Fund, almost $3 trillion. And there's another $1 trillion in the Disability Trust Fund of Social Security for the people that get it before full retirement age because they're disabled. Now, to understand how much $1 trillion is, is just beyond really my comprehension. But for a little bit of comparison sake, $3 trillion was as much as that whole initial Relief Act for the coronavirus thing, the CARES Act. That was the funding for that. So I don't want to get into big, huge numbers so much as I don't want you to make decisions about your Social Security really out of fear. I see it regularly where people come to us for Social Security advice, financial planning advice, retirement advice, and Social Security check is at the core of that. And they want to get theirs while they still can. And they're insistent on taking their Social Security early, getting a smaller check, just because they're convinced that the thing's going to run out of money. And I'm not really in a position to say they're not correct about that. I can say that to the world when I'm talking into the camera, and I can back it up with facts, but when it comes down to an individual client that's convinced of that, I'm just going to give them what they want. My sense is, don't make your decisions about Social Security just out of things you read in the press. Use sound facts. And where they talk about it running out of money in 2035, first of all, that's 15 years from now. And it's making the assumption that nobody changes anything. And I just think that they're going to. Some of those changes could be that we would move the full retirement age from 67, perhaps phase it in up to 70. That would be something. And then raise taxes, which nobody likes to hear that. But the reality is they're going to have to do something. They're not going to let this thing just dwindle down and it runs out of money. So I'm Hans Scheil, and I thank you for listening.